Get ready.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. How you guys doing? All right. I need y'all attention because I got some guys on the camera too. But had a chance to meet the group in here a little bit. Let me introduce myself. It's kind of weird. I'm talking to a camera, but I'm gonna probably talk to you guys more.
Okay.
Can they hear me? All right. Okay. My name is Renaldo Wynn. Let me just give you a little background about myself. I'm here on behalf of Game Plan for Life. So Game Plan, guys, is a ministry that was started by Coach Gibbs. Now, y'all don't know who Coach Gibbs is. Anybody know who Coach Gibbs is? Anybody out there? I expect not. Probably y'all parents would know who Coach Gibbs is. Coach Gibbs is a Super Bowl coach for the Washington Redskins. Now, he won 3 Super Bowls. I think he's the best Super Bowl coach, or the best NFL coach ever to win in the NFL. Now, I know who won 5 Super Bowls. What coach won 5 Super Bowls? Who's the head coach? Somebody said the Patriots. Who's the head coach? Bill Belichick won 5 Super Bowls. So he probably won more Super Bowls than any other coach, but Coach Gibbs is probably the greatest Super Bowl coach because no other coach has won 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. So this for the Redskins. I'll give you a little test. Back in the day, the Redskins. Y'all heard of the Redskins? Oh man, huh? They wasn't sorry back in the day though. Who you root for? Who's your team? Vikings. Okay, they ain't all that good either. You might have a point. Falcons. Okay, you're a hometown guy. You're a hometown. Who you got? There you go. What's up, Jerry? No fan? No fan? All right, you? Basketball, baseball, college? Okay. Oregon. All right, Oregon. Oregon's good. You guys may have a few teams out there. We got a couple of guys that Panther fans here. We got a Viking fan. I'm not talking about that after. We got Atlanta Falcons. No Cowboy fans. That's good right there. Right off the top. You know, Kansas City fans. Okay, Kansas City. All right. You got a couple of guys that like, other sports, but Coach Gibbs coached for the Redskins. And when he coached for the Redskins, he won 3 Super Bowls. He was also, listen up, guys, he was also the first coach to draft a black quarterback in the first round. So before there was a Donovan McNabb, before there was a Culpepper, before there was even a Cam Newton, Jameis Winston, he drafted the first ever black quarterback in the NFL, unheard of. A guy named was Doug Williams. Doug Williams was the MVP of the Super Bowl, was the first black quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl or win the MVP. Of course, it was 20 years down the road until who was the next black quarterback that won a Super Bowl. Played for the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson. No other guy had done it 20-something years prior. So this is history in the making. And so Coach Gibbs now is a NASCAR owner. He owns 4 NASCAR teams. Now, one of my guys here said he like a certain candy. One of our teams is sponsored for that particular brand, the M&Ms. So y'all don't seen the Cal Busch car, the 18 M&M car. He owns that car. Cal Busch won a championship in 2015. He also owns the number 20 Subway, the walk car. There's a guy that used to do a backflip off the car. You may have seen him when he won a race. When he won a race, he'd do a backflip. We ain't. That's our enemy right there. The man said number 24. That's who we try not to get to win. Jeff Gordon won 5 championships. I can't take none away. Jimmy Johnson won 6 championships. You know what I mean? But also we got the 11 FedEx car. Denny Hamlin won the Daytona 500, and then the last one was the 19 car. Guy that ended up being a Hispanic guy, first Hispanic driver ever in NASCAR to win the Xfinity Series last year, Daniel Suarez. So he's from Monterrey, Mexico, and so those are our 4 drivers. But more importantly, guys, my connection with Coach Gibbs is I actually played for Coach Gibbs. So Coach Gibbs came out of retirement in 2003 and ended up taking over the team when Steve Spurrier. Now, you guys heard of Steve Spurrier? Steve Spurrier is the coach of the University of South Carolina up until 2 years ago. Steve Spurrier was a Redskin coach. Coach Gibbs came in. I played in Jacksonville 5 years prior to that with Tom Coughlin for the Jaguars. And then after leaving the Redskins, I went to New Orleans with Who Dat Nation. So my man Peyton Manning, Coach Peyton was the head coach. Drew Brees was our quarterback. You guys heard of the running back from USC? You know who that was? Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush was our running back. Real fast. And then I went to the New York Giants. So I played for 4 teams over a 13-year span. Played in the NFL for 13 years. This is a picture. Hopefully you guys, I got enough pictures, I think, for everybody. How many pictures? How many people we got here?
It's 100 right now.
Okay, I think I made 100. So right here is anybody tell me that quarterback I'm sacking at the bottom? May not be a fan, but I'm sure you know the player. Okay. All right. I'm not trying to promote violence here, but on this other picture, right here, I was with the New York Giants sacking Tony Romo. So on this play right here, when I was sacking Tony Romo, I told Tony, I said, hey, you got to get down, man. Because Tony liked to extend the play, and I ended up, okay, I'm looking there too. I ended up sacking Tony, and as you can see, his jersey is being pulled out at the last minute. He tried to spin out. I grabbed his jersey at the last minute, and then it ended up really messing up his back. This was the first time Tony actually got hurt. He was out for 6 weeks with a back injury.
You injured Tony Romo?
That was the first time. I'm not proud to injure any player, but in the midst of battle, sometimes, injuries happen. And one of my battles that I ended up getting sustained an injury is when I was playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a playoff game.
Got some haters.
And I was coming around the corner. We got some haters. That's all right.
Yeah, look, they facing like, it ain't happening.
So I'm coming around the corner, and I'm trying to get the quarterbacks, how the defensive lineman get the quarterback's hand, try to stack the quarterback, get the ball out. At the time, my other teammate was coming around the corner, locked onto a 300-pound lineman. So that's 600 pounds of force at the same time. It was a perfect storm. Right when I put my hand out, these two guys collide into my arm at the same time. My arm breaks in half, all the way through the skin. It goes right through the skin. I'm talking about hit or pop so loud that even the guys on the sideline, it's in the middle of the game now. So you can imagine the fans, all the hoopla, all the craziness going on in the midst of a playoff game. This is another level than just a regular season. And so right when I put my hand out, my boy go through my arm with another offensive lineman, my arm breaks in half. If it wasn't for the skin, my arm would have probably just been tore off because it was just hanging. And so at that time, man, I go through this whole process, man, because this is at the end of the season. So my arm is broken. As you can see the scar, got one scar on that side, a scar on the other side. I go back, get repaired, end up trying to make it back for the next season. I get titanium plates put in. I move my they call it the ulna. Your ulna bone is your inside, then your inside bone, and your radius is on the outside. So I break the ulna and radius and the nerves that are within the muscle. So you got nerve endings all through your arm. So you guys ever kink a hose? What happens when you kink a hose when you got the water flowing? The water ain't coming out, right? So this is essentially what was going on with my nerves. Basically, my nerves were kinked, which was causing my hands, they call it atrophy. So when your hand atrophies, that means, or any part of your body, when it atrophies, it basically sucks the muscle out of it. So my hand looked like skeletal. It looked like a skeleton, no muscle, just straight skeleton, because the blood flow was getting kinked from that side. So guys, for me, I go through a season to try to get back. I make it back the next year, but then the following year, I'm going to my 10th year, and I just made the captain of the team. But I also knew that cut day was September 3rd, which was on my birthday. So y'all know what that means to be cut? Okay, so every roster, you can only have 53 guys on the roster. So right now, you see the Carolina Panthers. This is every team in the league. every team has about 80 guys on their roster. And right now, preseason is the big time for those guys to hopefully make a roster. But at the end of the day, even if all 80 guys are great players, 53 guys will get down to that roster, and 30 maybe get cut. 28, 30 guys will get cut. So I knew, I'm like, man, I looked at my watch, the cut time was 12 when was the last cut. I looked at my watch, it was 12:05. I was like, yeah, another year, made it another year. Then my phone rang. Now I told you, hey, y'all, right? So I'm celebrating, right? I'm celebrating. Hey, y'all can laugh. Y'all can laugh. It's all right. But my phone rang. Right when I celebrate, I'm telling you, I said 12:05, I made it another year, my phone rang. Now, what did I tell you also was September 3rd? Birthday. Virgo baby. But then, you know, Biggie say sometimes birthdays, what? It's the worst day. It's the worst days, right? So here I am. My wife wanted to do a birthday party for me. Now, I'm going to tell you, I ain't never celebrated a birthday in probably like 10, maybe 15 years. Because it always fell on the football season, even in high school. September 3rd, y'all know, it's kickoff Friday night lights. You're going to kick the season. I ain't got time for a birthday, man. I got to play the football season. But my wife wanted to talk me into doing a birthday party. I say, hey, go ahead and do it. She goes into the mall and goes and people shop for me. We got this big shindig that we got going on that night. I got coaches, I got players coming in, I got family coming in from out of town. We're going to kick off the year off right. But my phone rang. I let it go to voicemail. Why did I let it go to voicemail? Could have been somebody wishing me a happy birthday because I got about 10 or 15 birthday calls right before that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I didn't answer that one call at 12:05. Y'all ever had a feeling? Sometimes it's kind of a little eerie feeling where you don't really understand it, right? But you get that feeling, right? Sometimes. That's kind of like, you know, they call it your sixth sense. Sometimes it's when you may be in trouble. Or maybe it's sometimes, you know, it's different reasons you get that sixth sense. I had that sixth sense. Hairs pop up on the back of my neck. I'm like, man, I ain't answering the phone. Let it go to voicemail. Check the message. I see the message on there. The guy says, hey, Renaldo, this is Coach such and such from the Washington Redskins. We need you to, the worst words you never want to hear. Every player hears this even to this day when they get cut. Bring your playbook. So right now, I know I just got fired. I just got cut on my birthday. My wife comes out of the store. She's like, hey, baby, you ready to do this birthday party we got set up for you? I've been planning this thing. I said, we ain't doing no birthday party. Birthday's out. No party. Hey, what you talking? I said, I just got fired. She said, you didn't get fired. I don't believe you. Prank me. I played pranks on her a little bit. Check the message. She said, oh, man, you can't get fired. Check the message. My wife fell to pieces right there in the middle of the floor. Now, I'm thinking to myself, I'm the one that got fired, right? But why is my wife falling to pieces? She didn't get cut. But for some of you young guys, your wives, your significant other, maybe it's your mother, when you go through something, your family go through it. I don't know if y'all realize it, but y'all family right now serving time with y'all. I know you're thinking to yourself like, I'm the one serving the time. I'm right here putting up with whatever I'm putting up. No. They got to be able to send you stuff. I don't know if it's the same here, but I was just at Nash Correctional yesterday in the medium facility. And guess what? They got commissaries, they got stuff that they need to put on their books. Who does that? Mom? Dad? You know what commissaries are? So that just don't happen. They family going through what they going through. Whether or not you guys know it or not, your mom, maybe it's your dad, maybe it's a grandparent, maybe it's a sister and a brother. They going through what y'all going through. So here's my wife falling to pieces. I'm picking up off the floor. I got to go to Redskins Park. I got to get my playbook and I got to turn it in. I go from being sad, and now by the time I get to Redskins Park, it's about a 30-minute drive. I'm hot. As they say, hot as fish grease. I'm upset. That's pretty hot. But my first thought, guys, I'm going in, I'm cussing the coach out. That's my first thought. Thank God I didn't have no Twitter account at the time, no Facebook, no IG. no Snapchat, because if I would have went caps off. I would have went off with somebody. I would have went off. But I'm about to go in and cuss the coach out. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to show you a lesson here. Because we all going to be faced with adversity. You guys are already faced with adversity because you're in here. And so the good thing about you guys in here, you got second chances. The guys that I went to a Nash Correctional Facility, I talked to 30 lifers. They don't have second chances. 30 guys that served life. One guy serving just came out of death row, served death row for 20 years. He just got out. Was talking to him yesterday. And so my point is, if you're here right now, you may be thinking like, man, this is a God-forsaken place. Man, I'm throwing in the towel. If you're here, you got a second chance. But in the midst of those decisions, what decision are you going to make when your buddies are around? What's the decision that you're going to make? I didn't have nobody else but my wife in the car. Thank God I had somebody that had a positive for me, because I'm cussing. Now I'm cussing the car now, but I'm about to cuss the coach out now because I already know what the results are. I done seen guys get cut. They give you a trash bag, clean out your locker, and they escort you out with 2 police officers. But I figure I'm gonna get to the coach first before I get to that point. And so my wife, right when I'm got to get out the car, she grabs my shirt and said, "No, we gonna pray. You ain't cussing the coach out." I said, "Woman, did you hear what I said? I'm cussing the coach out. We ain't about to pray." I'm like, just so in it. But you know what? Thank God she grabbed me and said, we gonna say a prayer. Now it was a quick prayer. But you know what that did for me? Sometimes in the midst of emotion, guys, when we want to be able to respond or react, we need to take a breath. And that allowed me to take a breath and be able to think about what I was going to do. And so instead of cussing the coach out, I go in. Now I'm upset. I go in and I say, "Hey, coach, I appreciate the opportunity," which I did. But I was still upset. I was angry. And I don't cuss the coach out. The same coach that I was going to cuss out, that I didn't cuss out, that I got fired by, is the same coach that hired me. Did you hear what I said? I got fired by the same guy that hired me. If I cussed the coach out, I wouldn't even be sitting here in front of you right now. I wouldn't even be here in the state of North Carolina. Because one decision would have affected my whole. Now, would I have been all right? I don't know what I would have been doing. I probably would have been okay. But I definitely wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be working for Game Plan. I wouldn't have won a championship, not in football, but guess what? In NASCAR. A sport that I ain't even never had no two cares about. Never even watched NASCAR in my life. I thought it was all left-hand turns, to be honest. But you see how one decision can change your trajectory. You know what I mean? But the key is for you guys is you got a second chance. Now, whether you realize it or not, the stats right now are telling me that 80% of you guys are probably going to go on to go into maybe a Nash Correctional Facility, maybe a Lanesboro, which is a maximum facility. And so that's what the stats are saying. They rolling the dice right now saying, hey, that means we got 10 guys in this room right now, which we got 8. That means almost half of you guys, over half of you guys, 76%, they said you guys don't continue to go on the transition. And they telling me, hey, you may have a 15 or 20% chance that maybe 2 of these guys may listen. Now, my hope is, guys, I ain't giving up on nobody. I'm praying 8 for 8. I'm praying 8 for 8 in this room. I'm praying, I don't know how many we got out there. Mr. Rita said I'll be able to go around and meet some of y'all, but I'm praying for 100%. Now, some people say you stupid, you crazy. That ain't never happened. This is what they're telling me when I go into correctional facilities. But right now, you guys are your biggest enemies. What I'm telling you ain't nothing that you ain't heard already. You may have heard it flipped a different way. I'm just bringing in my story from a football perspective, but at the end of the day, it's kind of ironic. I work for a ministry called Game Plan for Life. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a playbook so you have a game plan. All I know is when I play football and we didn't study the playbook, my man said it right there. When we didn't study the playbook, we lost. Ain't no different for the Game Plan for Life. Studying the playbook for the Game Plan for Life, guys, you guys have kind of been really gone through some hard times. But the key is for you guys to learn from those mistakes. And so, guys, I'm gonna tell you something. When I went from that room, when Coach Gibbs, who hired me eventually 4 years later, he told me, he said, "Hey man, you're more than a football player." Why did my coach tell me that? Because a lot of times what I did ended up being the definition of who I was. See, Coach was speaking to a greater purpose in my life. And that greater purpose for me was my faith in God. And the only reason why I say that, guys, is because I know how real God is in my life. And I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't bring it up right now to y'all. Whether or not you know it or not, God said he turns all things, even the bad things, around for your good, but he's a gentleman. He's not going to force anything on you. And so it's up for you whether or not you're going to receive it. Now, I know you guys got some grandparents out there praying for you. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, for me, guys, my faith in Christ didn't come until I got to college. Didn't happen until I was about 19, 20 years old. And the reason why that happened was because I got almost kicked out of Notre Dame. I got a scholarship to Notre Dame, ended up playing as a sophomore. After my first year, I didn't play. And the reason why I didn't play my first year, because I didn't think I was good enough, to be honest. I wasn't that big of a guy. I was actually a tall guy, but I was about 180 pounds. And the only reason why I got a scholarship to Notre Dame was because it wasn't about what I know, but it was about what? Who you know. Guys, in life, it really is about who you know. It's about the relationships, guys, you keep. I told you that I got hired by Coach Gibbs because I didn't cuss him out, and he ended up hiring me after I got fired. It's about who I know. I go to Notre Dame because the guy that went to my high school actually was there already, just had to have some weight where he pulled a string and let me come there. But Lou Holtz knew I wasn't supposed to be there because I wasn't a top player. My recruiting class when I got to Notre Dame was the #1 recruiting class in the country at the time. Miami was #2, Florida State was #3, Notre Dame was #1. And in life, for football, you either gonna win or you're gonna lose. But it's the same thing in life, guys. People gonna tell you what you can't do. They're gonna look at your blueprint of what you've already done, and they're gonna say, "Oh, well, this is what he gonna do going forward." There's some people that you heard the words, "Man, you ain't gonna never do nothing. You ain't gonna never be nothing." But when you gonna draw the line and say, "You know what? I'm gonna do something different." And so I got told, "Don't go to Notre Dame because you ain't gonna never play. You ain't gonna never play." But I ended up going in my rookie year, my freshman year, as a favor to another guy. In my first practice, guys, I remember Jerome Bettis. Y'all know who Jerome Bettis is? The bus, right? The running back. Steeler fans, you know who the bus is. Just got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Jerome Bettis was a junior when I came in as a redshirt freshman. And here's Jerome Bettis just ran over a 250-pound linebacker, All-American. Boom! Ran that dude over. Now, I'm jumping on the sideline because I wasn't even paying attention, and I heard the hit so loud. Jerome Bettis ran over our All-American linebacker, and I'm looking like, man, I'm on the sideline watching this. And I'm thinking like, man, let me just step back a little bit. I don't even want to be in the game. But then again, the coach must have heard something because I ain't saying nothing. But he's like, "Son, get your in the game. It's a scrimmage. This ain't no free scholarship." So I go in there, and this is now the first team offense against not the first, the second, not even the third team defense. I think we were just the last on the totem pole. And I'm at safety. The safety is kind of like the last line of defense. You got the safeties, the linebackers, then you got the defensive line. I'm at the safety. I'm talking in the huddle, and I'm trying to talk to my linebacker. "Hey, linebacker, slow this guy down. Slow this guy down." Talking to the defensive line. "Hey, dude, slow this down." You know why I'm telling these guys that? Because I just saw Jerome Bettis run over a linebacker. And I'm like, "Hey, they tackle this dude. He ain't going to get to me." So I'm trying to hype him up, say, "Hey, slow this dude down." Well, it opens up like the Red Sea. Boom, opens up. Jerome Bettis comes right up the middle. Now, I'm at the safety position. And in football or any sport, you're supposed to practice so you don't have to think. You want to react, right? You practice enough so you just react to whatever you see. Well, I already know right now I ain't taking Jerome Bettis way up top. I'm going to take his legs out, right? I'm going to tear them legs off. But I did two things in football they tell you never do, just technique-wise. keep your what? Your head up, right? Keep your head up. We got some football guys. And or keep your eyes open so you can see what you hit. Keep your head up, keep your eyes open. I did both the opposite. Put my head down, I closed my eyes. Man, you know what? That's what I said. My man said, oh man, that's what I was thinking to myself. Oh man, here comes Jerome Bettis, man. He wasn't even supposed to get back here. I put my head down, closed my eyes. I tried to take his legs out, but the problem is you can't, when you close your eyes, you can't see what you hit. Man, this dude must be a prophet or something, man, because he already telling me the whole story. And so I don't even touch Jerome Bettis. I hit the ground face first. And you know what makes Jerome Bettis such a great player? He can run you over, be physical, but the dude for his size, 265-pound running back, had great feet. And I didn't know what happened because all I saw was Jerome Bettis going into the end zone, spiking the ball. I didn't know what happened, guys, until we saw the film that night. And the coach kept rewinding. It was like the comedy hour. Because, you know, Jerome broke my ankles. I didn't see he broke my ankles, but he did a juke move on me so bad, I hit the face, the turf face first, and Jerome Bettis goes in, man, and I'm like, man, just record, just forward it, man. That was a long night. But what came from that is I'm just trying to get off the field because I'm embarrassed, right? The upperclassmen, the seniors, jumping up. I'm embarrassed. And then we had this coach named Lou Holtz. I don't know if you know who Lou Holtz is, but Lou Holtz was our coach. And Lou had a little bit of a lisp. You know what I mean? He had a speech impediment issue. And Lou would tend to spit on you when he was upset. So he was spitting on me pretty bad. And then he grabbed my helmet and he's talking to me. He ain't talking to me. He cussing me out and he's telling me, hey, son, get off the field. Get off the field. My grandmother's better than you. I mean, he's telling me this, right? And I'm thinking like, man. And he said, son, I want to red shirt you. I'm like, I want a red shirt. I don't want to play anyway. You know what I mean? Let me red shirt. Red shirt means you don't play your first year. I'm like, man, hey, that's good. But then he says, son, I don't even want you to practice. You can't even practice. Now, that hit me right there because, man, practice dummies practice, right? I couldn't even practice. What was Lou trying to get me to do? He wanted me to quit. He wanted me to quit. And in life, a lot of times, when we're hit with hard times, we quit. You know, my old man, he would always tell me when I would start getting my license, about 16, 17 years old, man, we would drive and go across country or wherever, and we'd hit these hard rainstorms. You know, Joe, when you just hit these torrential downpours, I mean, just you can't see. And a lot of times what happens is you see a lot of people just, they start pulling off to the side of the road, which is safe. You pull off to the side of the road, put your hands on, it's so bad, you just pull off to the side of the road. My old man said, hey, man, don't stop. So you pace down a little bit, but just keep driving. Just keep driving. Why did he tell me to keep driving? Because the worst thing you want to do, really, in the storm is stop. You come out of a storm, even if you drive a little bit slower, you come out of the storm a lot faster. Because odds are that storm is going to stay where it's at. So my old man, knowing that, was like, hey, man, just slow your pace, but just keep driving. And it got lighter and lighter. Sooner or later, the storm stopped. But guess what? The storm was still in the back. People that was probably pulled off to the side, they're going to be there for a while. What's my point? If I quit, the storm ain't going to never pass me. Did I want to quit? Heck yeah, I wanted to quit. I was going to quit. I said, I'm done. I don't need to be here anyway. Who needs this? I ain't about to deal with this. I'm going back to Chicago. Chicago was where I was from the South Side. Saw a bunch of my homeboys fall susceptible. A couple of my guys didn't make it. A couple of guys were better than I was in sports, but got caught up in the gang life. Okay? On my side of the neighborhood was Gates' disciples. GD. I'm just being honest. On the South Side, but then there was another rival gang. We actually had two rival gangs that went against my neighborhood. It was the Vice Lords against the GDs from Chicago, and then there was also the Latin Kings. Latin Kings is one of the most notorious gangs in Chicago, which is probably called MS-13. But so these gangs got caught up. So I'm about to quit and go back to what? I'm about to go back to what? To the street. But I had some people in my life that tell me different. And these guys were coaches that happened to be on Notre Dame staff. Anybody ever heard of Urban Meyer? You know, Urban Meyer, the head coach of Ohio State, is Urban Meyer. He was our receiver coach. And Urban basically just said, hey, man, if you quit, you ain't gonna never know what's on the other side of the mountain. All I'm saying is, guys, is that in life, you're going to be faced with some adversity. Nobody's immune to adversity. Mr. Rita isn't immune to adversity. None of the adults here are immune to adversity, but how they handle the adversity when it happens. I think that's the true character of a leader. It's not the guys that's out in front. It's the guys that's really in the back, because the guys in the back are usually the guys that's forgotten about. So as I'm sharing with you guys just some of these life lessons, for me, I was going to quit, but I didn't. Remember, I couldn't even practice. I wouldn't even been up to practice. So I was going to be gone, but you know what? That a year, all I could do was work out. I gained like 40 pounds. I went from about 180 to about 225. Open trials came out. I ended up starting as a redshirt freshman, which was my second year. I beat out all Americans. Remember, my class was the number one recruit class in the country. I wasn't All-American. I wasn't an all-nut. I got there because of who I knew. And so I beat out these guys, and I'm starting as a redshirt freshman. We ended up going 11-1, finished the season number 2 in the country. Y'all can imagine what my next stop was, right? But God has a way sometimes getting your attention. He got my attention. Got pulled into a room about this size, about 10 athletes. My roommates, of course, a couple of girl soccer players, and the academic dean came in and said, hey, y'all are worse of the worst. Because you guys have been on academic probation not once, not twice, but what? 3 strikes and what? You out. He said, I'm going to have y'all fill out applications someplace else because y'all don't know what it means to be a student athlete. And I've heard this word, hey, you got to be a student first. You got to get your grades, man. You got to get your grades. But now it caught up with me. Because this is the time when sitting in the back wasn't the good thing to do for me. Because I was in the back of the class, not in the front. You know why I was in the back? And when I did show up, it was only for the test. I was in the back because I didn't study. I had a hat on, which I don't like wearing hats being from Chicago because of the gang activity when you turn your hat to the right or left. But I was there with a hat to the right because I'm trying to cheat off somebody else's paper. If I have my hat down to the right, I can look to the left. I'm just telling you, but it was more stress doing it that way. And at the end of the day, it still caught up with me. I'm still in the room, still on academic probation, but not showing up because of my decisions. And that's when my faith came into play, guys. Sometimes in the valley is when you ain't got no place else to turn. I was going to quit my freshman year, I did, but now I'm going to be forced out to get kicked back to the south side. And so now, here I am, first time I ever prayed in 2 years. I ain't prayed in 2 years. But I said, God, you got to help me stay in the school. And I asked God for a wife at 19 years old. 19 years old, I asked God for a wife because I had been with so many different women. I had done everything that the world told me was going to make me happy, and it did. And I was on my knees, and I asked God to help me in that situation. Now, it wasn't no eloquent prayer. It probably was a prayer. Hey, I probably said some cuss words. I don't know. I didn't know how to pray. I'm like, God, if you real, man, show me, you know what I mean? It was one of them prayers. And so I meet my wife. A month later, I meet my wife. After we met, we got married 3 months after we met. Now, that was extreme. I see you all say you look like, yeah, 3 months after we met, we got married. I've been married for 22 years now. And I got married at 19 years old because I felt like I needed somebody, which he sent me, my wife, to help me out. My wife kept me from getting cut. She also kept me from getting kicked out of school. Why? Because her first day when she came to South Bend, she said, get up out of the bed and go to class. I didn't marry a dumb job. I'm like, hold on, easy now. I said, no, I got people taking some great notes for me. You know what I mean? Because I ain't sure up to class. I'm just telling y'all, man. And you know, the thing of it is, I wanted a different result. I wanted a different result. You heard the word want. I want it. I want to be this. I want to be that. But it's more than just want. See, I wasn't putting in the work. I wanted a different result, but I was doing the same thing over and over again. That's what insanity is. You want a different result, but you keep doing the same thing over and over again. Doing the same thing, not showing up for class, sitting in the back for test. But now I got my wife saying, you know what? I done moved all the way out here. I'm going back home if you don't get up and go to class. Thank God she told me that and just didn't go along with it. You know what I mean? Somebody that cared about me was telling me what I didn't want to hear. I didn't want to hear that crap. I'm like, no, I'm cool. Get no. No, I'm like, come on now. Well, guess what? I went up, started going to class. She was on me. And when I started going to class, I'm sitting in the back of class, right? Nobody really back there. I'm standing out because most of the guys that when I did come, I thought the class was always crowded. Because when did I show up? I only showed up for the test because it was packed. I never realized that there was other people that wasn't showing up every day. So the class was really almost empty. So I'm in sitting in the back of the class. I stood out like a sore thumb. I'm like, where everybody at? Because I only showed up for the test. But the people that was really taking the class, the select core, were actually there to actually prepare so they can be able to pass the test and won't do what I do. I mean, we got the 5 P's in football. We always said, our coaches would always tell us in the pros and would say, proper preparation prevents poor performance. The 5 P's, proper preparation prevents poor performance. You know what that meant for us as players? We talked about the playbook, meaning we can win a game because of our preparation, and we know at the end of the day, we're going to perform to the top of our ability, or the top of our game. And so if we prepare ourselves, we already know it. So me, when I go into class, I wasn't prepared. I was trying to cheat. I started going to class, and I was forced to really come down. And really, it was by default. As I got in the front of the class, then the teacher at the end of the class, she knew my name and said, hey, you need some help? Now, I'm going to tell you something about perception. I didn't want to be in the class. I was there. I was just in the front because I felt I was out of place in the back. And the teacher started asking me, hey, do you need help? Perception becomes reality. Whether or not I didn't want to be there or not, just because I was placed a little bit more in the front of the class, I found out that, man, somebody wanted to help. I talk to high school kids all the time, and the kids that sitting in the back, I know exactly where they are in terms of their grades. Because they the ones in the back, they ain't paying attention. And the teacher ain't got time. She ain't got enough time to babysit a whole class. So for right now, for that teacher, I got to give my attention to the kids that's in the front. I don't have time for the kids in the back. She already feels like the kids in the back don't want to be involved. They ain't got nothing to basically hear what I got to say, but I got to give my attention to these people in the front. So when you put yourself in the back, you really take yourself out of the group and then be able to allow yourself an opportunity to really get the attention that you really need and the help. And so the guy was right, the academic dean, every guy got kicked out of Notre Dame. He was right. He had these little meetings every year with these guys on academic probation, and he was just being straight up. It seemed harsh, but he was being straight up, and every person got kicked out. My roommates got kicked out. Everybody in the room got kicked out. I was the only guy that made it. The only dude that made it because I changed my decisions. Every decision, whether or not you realize it or not, you may not believe it, but it has a consequence. And for me, it was one day at a time. I was getting a win. That's how I looked at it. I looked at it as my motivation. I'm winning. Check it off. Okay, I won that day. Check it. So I started piling up wins. More wins than losses. Did I have some losses? Yeah, I had some losses. But at the end of the game, I want to have more wins than losses. And so that allowed me to stay in at Notre Dame. My coach told me, Lou Holt said, hey, son, I want to kiss your wife. Not you at graduation. Because he knew it wasn't just me. He was wondering what had happened. You want to get your teacher attention? Make a drastic change. Sometimes you ain't got to say nothing. But they're gonna look at it and be like, man, what did happen? Man, he's showing up every day in the middle of class. And I'm just gonna tell you, it takes courage, guys. Because my roommates, we had a keg in our room. We were the party guys. We never went to class. It was easy for me to just be on the sideline and just be like, man, we cool. But I needed to be separated from them guys because it took courage. Even though they were still my boys, I had to know what was important now. What's important now? I talked to you about the wins. And I'm going to open up for some questions for you guys because what's important now? W-I-N, win. I had to ask myself, was it important for me to go out when I had a test the next day? Did I want to go hang out and drink, do whatever? What's important now? I had to ask myself, what's important now? And so for you guys, as you ask yourself that question, you got to ask yourself, when you're in the midst of an adverse situation, you got to ask yourself, what's important now? A lot of times in life, you always hear the word. I know you guys get it if you've ever been to an entrepreneurship event or that Miss Sharita puts on with people coming in and different things like that. What's the question they're going to ask you? What you want to be in life, right? Hey, what do you want to do? Sometimes that kind of, you hear that so much, but I'm going to take it a step further. What's important now, W-I-N, okay, what you want to do in life, why you want to do it. Because that why determines the what. The why is the passion of why you want to do it. And so when you determine the what, that's easy. The W-I-N and I stands for, man, you got to have investment in other people. Guys, I'm going to tell you, the biggest thing you can do is what you do for somebody else and what you do for yourself. That's the biggest thing you can do in life. Nobody's going to ever remember the wins, the losses. You know, these championship rings is more about the teamwork that we had, the investment in other people that we had. And then the N stands for never give up. W-I-N, how to win in life. You heard my story about never giving up. But it wasn't me just by myself. You got people speaking in your life. We got to determine whether or not we're going to filter out the bad or the good. It's easy. I'm telling you, it's easy to hear the bad stuff. But the good stuff, sometimes we don't want to hear. That's the hard stuff right there. So when you guys leave from here, you're going to go back to the same atmosphere that you was in. You're going to see the same homeboys that you was in. I would hope the game plan for you guys is to start coming up with a game plan and say, you know what? How am I going to handle this? Is it easy for me to say, hey, I'm going to go along with the crowd? Maybe you're that guy that actually is leading the crowd, and you got to get, and God's giving you that gift to be a leader. But can you lead the right way? Because it's easy to go along with the crowd. The guys that make the biggest difference are the guys that I respect the most. And so, guys, I'm not coming here to just say, hey, was it fun playing in the NFL? Heck yeah, it was fun to play in the NFL. But, guys, I learned more when I went through storms. When I went through tough times, my faith grew as a believer when I went through tough times. I hate going through tough times. I hate going through tough times, but I grow more when I go through tough times, when I go through those storms, when I go through the fire. I'm glad I got fired. I'm glad I got fired. Because when I got fired, I learned something about myself. I learned that I was more than a football player. I learned that the NFL stands for not for long. That the NFL's career is 2 years. And when I talk to guys about, hey, what you want to be, man, I want you to shoot for the stars. I want you to be an NFL player. I want you to be a pro basketball player. Whatever it is you want to be, I want you to do that. If it's a professional sports player, but the odds of making it, I mean, it's 0.0. I mean, there are 400,000 kids that play in the NFL, and there's not probably less than 1% that'll make it. I mean, that play high school football, there's less than 1% that'll make it into the NFL. So your backup plan's got to be your education. It's got to be something. Maybe you're a guy that work with your hands. I work at a NASCAR shop. We got guys that work on our pit crew, that were athletes, that make pretty good money to change tires to go around the track. You know what I mean? We got guys that go to UTI, work on engines. Maybe it's a trade or something. Maybe you're an artist. Whatever it is, you know the passion that God has put on the inside of you, but it's up to you to cultivate that, to go all out. A lot of things that people probably won't tell you, I'm sure Ms. Sharita will tell you this, but when you volunteer your time for something that you want to do, that's going to open up doors right there. That's called an internship. But you don't even have to have an internship to do it. You can say, hey, man, I want to volunteer and get shadow. If it's something you want to be a part of. I always tell kids if they want to be a part of a Hornets or something, hey, go up there and say you want to volunteer. If there's somebody you know, volunteer for free. Because guess what? Everybody want to get paid. But you want to separate yourself from the other rest of the guys. That's something you can do to really do that, guys. But I want to open it up for questions because I know our time is short. I don't know, Ms. Sharita, can we take questions online as well? On other classrooms? Okay. Any questions? Any questions to this group right here? Football, whatever y'all want to talk about? How long did you say you played? I played it up for 13 years. Yep, 13 years. So I got drafted as a first rounder by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I was a first round pick for Jacksonville. I was there for 5 years. And then I went to the Redskins for 6. Got cut, went to the Saints, and then went to the Giants. 2010. So 97 to 2010. Yeah, I'm on that. Make sure you up my agility level, man. It's kind of low right now, man. Redskins was 2002 to 2007, and I came back in 2009, 10. Yeah.
13 was on the team then?
He came right after that. RG3.
Yeah,
I feel you, I got you. Hey, that's good. That's what's up. Hey, give them a little grace, guys. Come on.
Some people were late, so say your name again.
Okay, for the guys that were late, Renaldo, Wynn. Again, I got this picture here. I don't know how many I got, but I think I got enough for everybody. I'll try to sign and hand this out to everybody right here. All right. Other questions? Questions online? Questions? Yeah.
Who is your linebacker?
Question was, he asked what position I played. He said, was I a linebacker or tight end? I played defensive line. So I was sacking quarterbacks. So, and then the other question was, he asked how many years I played. My man right here, I played 13 years. I'm going to try to repeat the question so I forgot you guys are listening in. So, all right.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
You say you're from Southside Chicago.
Yes, sir.
And you said in your neighborhood you asked people that were involved in games.
Yeah.
Did you have to turn away from that neighborhood, or did you have to, in a sense, go forward with your life and go away from those things?
Right.
Or were you able to live in this side around that area?
Well, you know what? No, I still live in the area, but I think because I put all my, I shouldn't have did all my energies in football, but I think they kind of recognize a lot of the older guys, they call them OGs or whatever. A lot of those guys kind of said, hey, man, we're not going to mess with you because they kind of saw. I mean, these guys, even though they recruit guys in games, trust me, they want guys to do well. But because the kids that are not doing well, they figure they might as well just recruit you in the game. Because, so for those guys in my neighborhood, they saw that, man, this dude really trying to do something. You know what I mean? And really come out and kind of represent us, you know what I mean? And so they really, I really didn't have to go through that, man. It just didn't appeal to me, man. You know what I mean? I wasn't drawn to that. You know what I mean? I really wasn't drawn to that type of lifestyle. A lot of my other buddies were. And as a result, good guys, good kids, but, ended up getting killed. Yep.
They want to know that you feel at lunch. Hey, look.
Oh, man, I ain't that old.
Got you with LT.
Man, LT was one of the greatest pass rushers ever played. But I never played with LT. He's a hero of mine, of course. I came into the league in 97. So just Google LT, Lawrence Taylor. I think LT was probably 80s.
Yeah.
Probably about 80s, right? Early 80s to about early 90s was probably LT's era. But I respect him. Yep.
Y'all got a question? What's right
Yeah,
here? We play football, so y'all confused.
Okay.
I know
let me ask y'all a question. Do you guys know who, you guys remember who Sean Taylor is? Have you ever heard of Sean Taylor? Played football. Huh? He played for the Redskins. He was a safety. He probably was one of the best safeties to ever play. Yeah. Okay. My man got a little history. The reason why I bring up Sean Taylor because people always ask me who was one of the best football players I ever played with. I played 21. Good. Yeah. So I played with Drew Brees. I played with Eli Manning. Played with Plexico Burns. I played with a lot of Clinton Portis, Santana Moss. I mean, I can go down the list. Fred Taylor. But Sean Taylor was the best player I ever played with. Sean was a pure football player. My man just said that Sean Taylor got killed. And Sean, just let me share a little something with Sean Taylor. Sean made a decision to make a change. When Sean came to the Redskins, because of his athletic ability, he went to Miami, grew up in Miami with some of the roughest parts. But because of Sean's talent, people continue to give him second chances because he was that great of a player. When he got to us, Sean was straight from the streets of Miami. Nobody hated Sean Taylor. You know why? Because dudes were scared of Sean Taylor. Because they knew Sean was straight from Miami, from Liberty, right in Miami. And so when Sean came in, Sean was a quiet dude. He wanted dudes that was quiet, didn't talk too much. Them sometimes the ones you got to watch out for. But one thing about Sean was he got a little bit of trouble. Had some run-ins with the law. Went back home to Miami for the summer. Some guys stole his ATVs. Instead of calling the cops, Sean went to get his ATVs back. Pistol beat the guys. It was 2 guys, got his ATVs back. Problem was retaliation. He was in front of his house. They came back with what they call choppers, AK-47s. And somehow the police said Sean got away. Cleared the fence. They said just hurled the fence without even touching it and got away. Now it's kind of ironic that Sean's dad is the chief of police in Miami. He's a sheriff in Miami, but Sean chose a different route. Sean came back to the Washington Redskins after that little incident over the summer. I knew something had changed about Sean. I didn't know what, because I had never really talked to Sean because we were kind of 2 different guys. I'm an older guy. He was a young guy coming in. I respected him, but we didn't hang out, of course. And, of course, the only time I had run-ins with Sean was our first preseason game. We getting ready for the night game. And on our floor, they usually have what they call team floors in the hotel, where it's just all players. They have a security guard on the end or whatever to kind of, make sure fans don't get up there. But I'm in the next room and I smell something. I'm kind of watching TV, getting ready for the game, and I smell something like a skunk smell or something, right? I'm like, right? So I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? I'm like, come on, man, we got a game to play. My man smoking weed next door. I didn't know who was next door. I was like, man, one of these young cats smoking next door. I'm trying to get ready for the game. I don't need all this. So I go next door. Boom, boom, boom. Man, put that out, man. Sean Taylor opened the door. It's smoke everywhere. I'm like, dude, I'm going to get secondhand smoke up in here, man. And I'm like, we call him S-Dot. S-Dot, what you doing, man? He said, oh, man, it's a preseason game, man. We ain't about to, man, I'm good. Man, I said, come on, dude. I said, man, you can't do this, man. Come on, man. Hey, man, you're a great player, man. So he wasn't trying to hear. You know how y'all are. Y'all ain't trying to hear what people trying to tell you, right? Right. And he did. He went on ahead and finished, did what he had to do, right? And I'm like, man, so this was the only interaction me and Sean had ever had, right? 2 different deals until he had that situation that happened. Fast forward a year later, he comes back. I'm like, something different about that dude. I couldn't put my finger on it. Didn't know until afterwards. And then he came over to our locker room. On the side of the locker room could change in the NFL. Every locker room I've been in is exactly the same. You got guys on one side, they may be rolling dice, making pictures up, you know what I mean? Then you got another side, I call it kind of like a country club type, everything more laid back, older guys, kind of laid back. And so Sean came over one day and was like, hey, Grandpa, said, man, who you calling grandpa, man? He said, hey, man, it's like senior citizen living over here, man. You know what I mean? Y'all over here just chilling. Like y'all on the front porch, you know, he up in jaw janking. I'm like, all right, it's all. I said, man, you over there in the hood, man. You like a Brady Green or something over there, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all Section 8 and all that over there, you know. Hey, you gotta be quick. You gotta be quick with it, right? You gotta be quick with it. Had to have a comeback for him, right? He's like, oh man, come on, man. He said, no, but man, I like it over here, man. Hey, man, I'm gonna move my locker right over here, man. I said, man, come on, man, you ain't gonna move your locker. Now there was an empty locker right next to me, right? And so on the other side of me was Santana Moss, another dude, my boy Philip Daniels, who actually broke my arm, my other teammate. And so it was an empty locker, and that locker had always stayed empty. Because anybody that went in that locker within 2 weeks, they got cut. So nobody, that was like the voodoo locker. Nobody wanted to go in the locker. Everybody, and when a new dude came in and didn't know that was like the voodoo locker, what you call the locker room, he was like, hey, what about here, Cole? Dog, don't do it, man, don't do it. So nobody wanted that locker, right? But Sean was like, man, I'm gonna put my locker. We thought he was just talking, right? We leave for practice, go home, we come back the next morning. Locker right next to mine. I ain't never really talked to Sean on the football field. Hanging out outside was that incident we had about him smoking. But now he right next to me. I'm like, it's crazy, man. And so I realized Sean made a decision. He said, man, I got to do something different. He also had a baby at that time, a young little girl. He felt like, man, as a father, I want to be here for my little girl. And so Sean began to be one of the best players, man, that I had ever seen. I ended up getting cut off the team. Kept in touch with Sean, man. Was a great leader. People still didn't mess with him. Even on the field, people didn't mess with him. You know what I mean? I saw Terrell Owens drop about 3 or 4 balls because Sean Taylor, he was one of the hardest hitting safety. You Google Sean Taylor, he went for 100% all the time. It was 100%. And so when I'm at the Saints, I see Sean got hurt. And the Redskins didn't take him on the trip. So if you get injured, this is just an NFL policy. You don't travel with the team. You stay back and you just kind of get rehab. Usually you see a quarterback, maybe he'll travel because he's helping the young quarterback with the play calling. But usually you just stay back and get treatment. Well, Sean kind of broke the team rules. And this high decision that you may think is harmless may be harmless, but it ends up being harmful. Sean actually decided to go home back to Miami with his to-be wife and his little girl. The problem was with that is he had a younger sister who was in high school, who was trying to impress 4 young boys that were also in high school between the ages of 14 and 18. And her trying to impress these young cats, she basically told them, hey, you can break into my brother's house and steal whatever you want to steal. He playing. He ain't going to be here, so you can just go ahead and go steal whatever you want to steal. The problem was they didn't know Sean Taylor was home. They broke into Sean's house. Sean was upstairs with his wife and his daughter. He went downstairs to check on it. The one kid had a gun, panicked, heard something, shot through the door, hit Sean in his leg. The problem was he hit his main artery in his leg. What's the chances? Hit a leg shot. Hit the main artery, he bled out. 5 lives were lost in that whole deal. Of course, Sean Taylor lost his life. We thought, man, he's going to be fine. I heard about it in New Orleans. I'm like, man, oh, he's going to be good. On the news, he got hit in the leg. He didn't make it the next morning. But the 4 young kids serving right now, serving life. And you know what the other 3 kids said? Man, we didn't even know that dude had a gun. We were just coming in to steal some stuff. I'm being honest. This is what the kids said. You can read about it right now. That was their argument. Man, we were just tagging along to steal some stuff. We didn't know. But you know what happens? Guilty by what? Association. And maybe they were telling the truth. Maybe they didn't know the dude had a gun. I know my boy Plexico, who was with my boy Antonio Pierce when I was with the Giants. Antonio said, man, I didn't know Plexico had a gun when we was in the club and he shot himself in the leg. He said, man, we were just going to a nice club. Didn't know Plexico. What happened to Plexico? Man, his whole life changed. We ended up losing the doggone championship that year because one guy. And so here, Plexico Bird, the receiver. The wide receiver, Plexico Bird, shot himself. He was in the club, went into a nice club on New York, and of course, New York law said you can't have guns. And he leaned up against the side of the table, boom! Gunshot went off. Antonio, I asked Antonio, I said, hey man, did you hear the gunshot? He said, yeah, man, everybody was dancing, but wasn't nobody running. People stopped. Wasn't nobody running. They went back dancing. And then next thing I know, 5 minutes later, Plexico comes up to me like, man, I shot myself. He said, what? You shot yourself? What did you? And Cheddar bombed himself. He did. Cheddar bombed himself. And his whole life changed. He lost millions of dollars. He ended up serving time for a little bit more than a year in the New York penitentiary. But again, Sean Taylor loses his life, but even more so, those 4 boys lost their life because they serving life because of the association of the guys that they dealing with. Huh? Sister, man, she was at the funeral. She was so, I'm telling you, I've never seen, when they did the funeral was so big, they did it in a huge gymnasium at Miami. I mean, OJ was there before he went in. I mean, everybody was there from all around the league. The entire Redskins team came in. You know what I mean? I mean, it was unbelievable. But the person that was crying the worst out of anybody in the whole building that I felt bad for was his sister. Because she felt bad because it was because of her decision to saying, hey, go there and break in. And I hope that she's forgiven herself now, because that's the biggest gift that you can have is not forgiving yourself. And so I don't know where his sister is right now, but I hope she's doing well. I hope she's doing okay.
Okay, this one group, they came in super late.
Somebody else came in?
Yeah, 400, they weren't in there for some reason, but they want to know what teams you played for, and then somebody else wants to know what team did you play against in the Super Bowl?
All right, teams I played for, I was in Jacksonville. I was a first-round pick for the Jaguars from 97 to 02. Went to the Redskins for 5 years, from 02 to 07. Got cut, went to the Saints with Coach Payton and Drew Brees for a year, went to the Giants, and then I finished up in Washington. I came back to the Redskins 09 to 2010 and never played in the Super Bowl. Came close. I told you, if you were in the room, I felt like when I was with the New York Giants, we had a better chance to go to the Super Bowl because we were actually 12-2 and we beat Pittsburgh. And we beat Arizona that year. Those 2 teams went to the Super Bowl. But we had what situation came up. Plexico shot itself. And I hate to say it was one guy, but one guy can bring a lot of just unnecessary attention to a team. And that's kind of threw us off and distracted us. And plus, Eli wasn't in rhythm in terms of his passing. And then I had a chance to go almost to the Super Bowl when we was in Jacksonville when we played the Tennessee Titans. We were 14-2 that year and ended up losing to the Titans. They ended up losing to the St. Louis Rams, the greatest show on turf. But I won this championship ring is not from football, it's actually through NASCAR. So I got 2 championships through NASCAR. We got the 18 M&M team, the FedEx 11 team, the 20, the Dollar General team, and the 19 Subway team. So our 18 team won the championship. So everybody gets a championship. Definitely come on out to Joe Gibbs Racing if y'all do get a chance. Come on out and check us out. Or go to a race or something. Get you guys to get to a race. Have any of y'all ever been to a NASCAR race? It's the worst thing to watch on TV. But till you go to a race, I was the same way. Never watched it on TV. I went to a race. You can feel the motors just riveting your soul. It's so loud. But then you see the whole, just the perspective of all that goes into racing. And that's how I got hooked. I went to one race, got hooked when I went to a race. And y'all right here in Charlotte, this racing mecca. This is where everybody comes to go in terms of NASCAR. You know, our pit crew guys make about $150,000 to $200,000 a year just for our pit crew guys. in terms of just changing tires. They're athletes. Come out and see these guys change tires. I mean, it's a totally different deal. Any other questions? Any questions for y'all while we wait?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
I know you've been around a lot of skilled players, talent,
Yep.
good coaches, good people. What would be one of the, or if any, a lesson that you learned, like an important lesson from somebody that would possibly be something these boys can take forward?
I think the one thing that and let me repeat the question so you guys can hear. Mr. Warren. Mr. Warren said of all the different skilled players that I've had a chance to play with, coaches, just cross throughout my life, he asked me, what's the one lesson that I can kind of feel like I took home with me? And for the people that have heard my story, I've kind of weaved it in throughout. For me, it's been about relationships. What do I mean by relationships? I use that cliche saying, it's about not what you know, but about who you know. I mean, you got to learn, of course, continue to, to give yourself a craft and work on that. But it's really about the relationships over the years that I've had the opportunity to really cherish those relationships. Coach Gibbs, who's a great mentor of mine. And I'll say this, for coaches, Billy Graham, who you've seen Billy Graham Street, but the great Billy Graham said that coaches have more impact on more people in 1 year than most people have in a lifetime. FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, they use that as their mission statement. You know why they say that? Because think about how much time coaches have. And if you ever played a sport, you probably can think right now something that your coach told you if you played a sport. The problem is there are some bad coaches out there too now. I'm talking to some kids right now. I'm not going to mention the high school here, but there's a horrible coach, and that's why they ain't winning, because the way he's talking to his players. He's trying to break their spirit, not uplift their spirit. And so for me, it's about, guys, the relationship that guys that you have with other people, that's what's going to last. I talked about making an impact on other people's lives. You want to get people, I always tell people to get people's attention in terms of if you want to go to college, they're going to look at your resume or whatever you've done in terms of volunteering for communities. Do you volunteer at the church? Do you volunteer at the YMCA? What type of volunteer work are you doing? And at the end of the day, to be honest, I'm not going to remember the wins more than I'm going to remember what a coach told me and about the relationships that I kept. So for me, it's always about, those relationships. For me, why I'm here today. You know what I mean? Miss Sharita. Connected with another person that we end up finding, connected with Miss McGahee, who's up at Johnson C. Smith. Told us about Miss Sharita. You see the connecting of the dots? Because for you guys, y'all need to be bridge builders, man. So many times y'all burning bridges. You know what I mean? What is a bridge for? A bridge is so you can get to the other side. I don't want y'all standing on the other side. You see the promised land, but you can't get there. You see what goals you want to give, but guess what? You may have burned a bridge, and that person been like, oh man, I ain't about to help this kid. So it's important, man, to start building those bridges. And it ain't never too late, especially for you guys. Them guys, I went to Nash Correctional Facility out in Nash, Rocky Mount, North Carolina yesterday. We were giving them the opportunity to build a bridge, even though what they serve in life. Because we're doing a seminary inside of a prison right now. This has never been done in the state of North Carolina. We're doing a prison seminary. A seminary is basically if a pastor, he graduates from a seminary. So right now, in the state of North Carolina, we're doing a seminary there where we end up getting 250 lifers from around 25 prisons to be interviewed. These 30 have been selected. Every year is going to be a new 30 that's going to go through. What happens when they graduate? These guys, I'm telling you, yesterday, there was a convocation program, meaning we started a kickoff for a school year. These 30 lifers got selected to get kicked off, and they shared some unbelievable stories, but they were saying, now I'm more free than ever because I'm serving life, but I have a new purpose. And these guys, once they graduate, they get to get sent out as a field minister all around the entire state and go touch all these guys throughout the prison system. And so for you guys, man, these are guys that, man, they wish they had a second chance. But even for these guys, they have a second chance to do some good for guys that are getting out, to be able to touch these guys' lives. Any questions?
Oh, some classroom wants to know what years you were on Madden games.
We got some Madden players. Are y'all good at Madden? Huh? Right here? Okay, all right. 2002, well, the years I played, 97 to 2010. So Madden's been out for a while. 97 to 2010. Yep. All right. Don't forget to up my strength level, my agility level on there. Any other questions?
Yeah, how old is it?
Say it again.
What's your age? How old is it?
42.
I got another question. How long you got to go to college and working with Pitt?
Say it again.
How long you got to go to college and working with Pitt?
He asked me a good question. He said, how long do you got to go to college to work as a pit member, like for NASCAR teams? It's a training program. Just Google NASCAR pit school or Google UTI. They both have pit training class, and for a lot of them, it's maybe a year. You know what I mean? Maybe a year, maybe 2 years. I got a guy that right now, he's not on our pit team, but he graduated from UTI. He's from Alabama, a black guy. Graduated from Alabama. I came across him working in the shop. I said, dude, how long you been here, man? He said, man, I've been here 2 weeks. I said, man, okay, man, that's good, man. Congratulations. I said, man, how did you get here? He said, man, I'm from Alabama. Man, I heard about NASCAR or whatever, and I went to the UTI school out in Mooresville. He said, I graduated. I couldn't get a job. I was like, man, so what did you do? He said, I was working for Auto Bill, but I couldn't take care of myself, so I lived in the tent, working at Auto Bill. Now, here's a guy that graduated from UTI, worked at Auto Bill, couldn't afford an apartment, so he just lived in the tent. And he said, man, this is crazy, man, but a cop was dispatched to the tent area where I was at. And she started asking me questions about what I was doing. I said, hey, this is my deal. I went to UTI, graduated, couldn't get a job, this, that, and other. She said, you know what? Yes. I know a guy, you know what I mean, that my husband knows that works at Joe Gibbs Racing. I'm going to talk to my husband, and we're going to see if we can get you in. This dude, because just right place, right time, this guy's working at Joe Gibbs Racing now. So he graduated from UTI. The pit guys make 150. Pit crew guys. It takes about 2. Once you graduate from UTI, they will just put you out there. You're going to have to be in practice. They put you in the lower level, like the truck race. You know what I mean? And you can work your way up. Once you get to the cup level, you know what I mean? There are 3 levels in NASCAR. The truck series. There's the Xfinity series, the next level that races on Saturday. And then it's the Sunday big time series that races on. When you get to that cup level, he asked the question, those guys make, yes, about 150. Our top guy makes about 200. But it takes work to get there. But if you really dedicate, you can do it. You know what I mean? To be able to be a tire changer, maybe it's a tire chain, a carrier, maybe the big guys are gas guys, jack guys. So that's maybe something you can kind of look at, you know what I mean, and do some research. You got the computers right here. And UTI is right here in town. We got guys coming from all states, California, you right here in North Carolina, to go to UTI or go to the NASCAR pit school. So definitely look at that. Yeah. I've never been there. Well, they got a racetrack? Have you been there? Okay. What'd you think? I love it, man. I love. He asked me that. I've been to Winston. It's a track in Winston, and he said it was too loud for him. I love the loudness, man. I get hyped, man. I get hyped with the noise. What else? What else?
I'm gonna end it so you can go this.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, appreciate it. I'm gonna sign some autographs for these guys, and hopefully I'll see y'all in a little bit.